important it is, 7 years or 8 years or 10 years or 12 years, showing a promise at that particular age may never guarantee at the age of 18. Even an athlete at 15 who is a national champion may be nowhere in the international scenario when he comes to 20. He is talented according to his age. That will not predict future success. We take it for granted. An 8-year-old is a state champion. We aspire him, he is Olympic champion. Nowhere. That is why in Kerala we have a particular very important athletes excelling at the national. Definitely talent has to be identified in terms of relative age. A boy, I'll give a small example. A boy or girl at the age of 12 who has got strength better than the other players of their particular age will excel. Just because of the strength factor. Just because of the strength factor. Once 2 years back, 2 years ahead, when others gain strength, we need to understand that talent is so relative. We need to have periodical evaluation of talent even at the elite level to see whether they are progressing. Session and Jasmine, because long-term athlete development, a child who enters sports at 8 is expected to perform better at the age of 18, provided he put the amount of balancing all the dimensions. Unfortunately, Monday we send the athlete to the camp, Friday we need a champion. Parents are worried, coaches are worried. You put in the training at least district champion immediately this year. Otherwise, we pull in the real dimensions of the long-term Kerala. One of my PhD scholar had done I had gone with him. He did PhD after his retirement, so he had no intentions of increment. So we enjoyed it. When I went to Puvar, one football player was there. He has played for all the departments, unable to get a job. He is working as a plumber. When we went to his home to interview, he literally chased us. He was totally against anybody who is so frustrated with his life, with the effort he has given to sports, to fetch even livelihood. Of course, next day again we did not leave. He talked to us. There was a paper cutting. Even at this age, he is having a hope. Dropping out, which we are following. Though they are talented, something which Jasmine developed, self-identity and independence throughout the life. Every respect. How many of you can call yourself independent? Our vision, our direction, our goals are lacking to develop independence. And for athletes, if you see in the Western countries, go to the senior level. They have their goals. Here the coach has the goal, the athlete has to listen. The coach will determine which is the important tournament. Athlete has to just... So there are lots of dimensions. Has given a wonderful theory of, you get wonderful writings with typical examples of how a child needs to be developed psychosocially. Right from the lifespan theory we call it. Has not left any age group for that matter. Little glimpse of this. A child of 0 to 1 years of age. The crisis which the child faces is trust versus, there's a social crisis, the negative and the positive side. Please in a balanced. Even when the mother is feeding the child will be looking at the mother's face, looking for cues of expression. With what intention is the mother feeding me? The mother might be so hectic, has to put the child to sleep, give food to the husband. Jasmine had pointed out, with the cooking and tea making and everything, frustrated, want the child to sleep. Her expression, if it is negative, the child will mistrust the mother. Though you are feeding, you are timely feeding, the child will mistrust the mother, mistrust the family, mistrust the society in the largest. Child will grow they try to do everything on their own. You try to feed them, it is a matter of trying to establish autonomy. I want to do it by myself. Children start taking initiative on things, taking small leaderships. If they are being promoted, definitely it goes naturally. Parenting becomes enjoyable in the first 2-3 months. We discipline the child and him travel through the negative. At least by to 18 years, an individual should be able to have life orientation. What am I? What am I good at? What is my life for? If he doesn't develop that perspective even at this age, very strong here. I don't know, I read in a passage, the American tribals, Oblola Lakota, they have a very mysterious way of identity being explored by individuals. What they do, at 16, 17 years, they take the child and they somewhere put him in the forest. Child has to live in the forest, the tribal group. They have to live in the forest. He tried to come back sometime. The experience he gains with his 3-4 days in the forest, he comes back and narrates it to the leader. Then he decides, this is the path you need to take.
Children.
Yeah.
And so they have to
Princess, they have to go on exile. It had a wonderful self-exploration. You test everything against the odds. And then you come back totally having a self-awareness, identity of what you are going to do for everyone and for sports in particular. The athlete will have to fix up, have this balancing independence to the athlete, people of age, adulthood. I don't know whether you know Professor Bakhtiar Choudhary. Was it revealed, Madhu sir? He is a master's degree student now. Yesterday he had a call. He has to submit his in the next week. So he was telling, I will submit in the last day. Just like us. A man who is able to learn even now. MFA, Master of Finance. Attitude of learning. We need to generate. We are not satisfied. He is a medical doctor. He can earn good amount at Hyderabad 2 days. He is spending here. He is saying, no, I need to enjoy life. I need to generate. I need to serve the society. UGC lecturers, UGC professors getting salary but not satisfied. At the end, Erickson says, there will come a period just before your death. There is a total rewinding. മൊത്തത്തിൽ ആദ്യം തൊട്ടുള്ള സിനിമ you will analyze all the roles you have played in your life, right from childhood, studentship, teacher or whatever occupation you have taken, as a husband, wife, as a father, mother, as a grandfather, grandmother. Ultimately you see those who have done their different roles well, they will have not satisfied in terms of the positions they have had, satisfied with the wonderful roles they have played. This is such a wonderful theory which we need to imbibe in our, mainly for the development of our own children, which is very, very important. It is not one person. In such wider networks, all should positively reinforce him towards his performance, towards his rehabilitative process. The mother, the brother, the coach, sporting friends, outside sports friends, the media has got a big role. If the athlete is of a, has taken a wide variation, autocratic leadership, all others are sidelined. The coach cannot perform. Autocratic to the democratic with a very positive, interactive, performer-led person. Shift from the, you cannot be very democratic for every athlete. A boy of 6 or 7 years coming for a swimming pool, below 12 years, autocratic approach, affordable to a certain extent, depending upon individual, early experience, the coach dependent, you are teaching him various things. But as he progresses towards 13 to 17 years, this is a stage where we have a give and take process, a sharing, collaborating, and the athlete-coach dependence. We will have to have combination. We will have to ask the athlete, what is good for you? Sense of developing, gradually developing the independence and autonomy in the athlete so that he fixes his own goals. Not that the coach fixes and insists on attaining those goals. And finally, when he is 18 and above, empowered athlete. Total accountability, find personal autonomy, self-responsibility. He has his own and education to have training and competition. He needs a coach to support and facilitate him. Well, that is what happens. Roger Federer doesn't require a coach, in fact. Sachin Tendulkar doesn't require someone to say how to hit the... He needs an intimate person. And that is the role of the coach. As he progresses towards, unfortunately, our Indian athletes, they don't know anything about, cannot fix up goals because they don't know about themselves. They just listen passively according to the knowledge and limitation. Athlete education is, athlete has to know why this training. Or he should question, sir, why plyometrics today? Why continuous run today? How will it benefit me? Once he asks, he'll be out of the camp. That is the way he will get knowledge. He will develop his own strategies of performance routines and strategies, and a totally independent athlete who can have real personal goals. It's a real marriage actually. So much of bonding between the athlete and the coach that the coach influences every minute of the athlete's mind. Coach-athlete relationship only for hours of training. After that, we don't know what he's doing. We are unaware about the 24-hour routine of the athlete. We are not concerned. We are concerned when he comes to that 2 hours he has to be disciplined. After that, he has to have, because he has got the expertise and the knowledge, all these dimensions provided to the talented athlete who is the talented person. In athlete development and injury rehabilitation is there. The coach is not educated, how can he educate the athlete? How much are we oriented towards so we keep everything closed. Speaking about logbook, and we don't have it because once it is written, our knowledge transferred to the athlete so that athlete education I've been asked to limit, and they is so high. Bakhtiar Choudhary, I told her, I had 2 injuries, serious injuries, ACL surgery and Achilles tendon surgery. So he was telling you are not disciplined. When you are, every sports person is that, for that matter. He cannot always listen to the head. When you go with the heart, there are mistakes. Some professional players, once an injury is there, the coach says, totally unrecognized. We are yet to regard that he can make a comeback and provide the necessary. You know about Derrick Rose of Chicago Bulls. This is the incidence of injuries he had, 13 to 16. See the instances. He is still playing. A wonderful player who has made a big comeback. You must see him play. Even now, just today I just checked, he has got an average of 16 points in every game. Such a wonderful player. See the clip of his recovery, wonderful clip. For severe injury, he came back again. The total community was behind him. The family was behind him. The coach was behind him. Injured, immediately he is out in a stretcher. Nobody cares for heart and soul into he has nothing else. he is worth only for the sport. And when he becomes worthless, imagine the emotional trauma he can have. That is the end of life for him. Injuries can deprive, increasing life stress, fear to re-injury, sense of juncture of your career are you with? At what area of the competitive season are you? If it is in the preparatory phase, of course, he has still more hope. But we have to be positive because Olympics comes every 4 years. We need to reassure and bring the confidence back, intentionally or unintentionally, especially in team games. The coach cannot focus on the athlete, I have to be with him and the match, let the match go on. No. He's intentionally or unintentionally gets a feeling that he has gone. Despite the athlete injured, the coach has to run the show. Some coaches perceive that injury വന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ പിന്നെ ഇനിയിപ്പം എന്നെ കൊണ്ട് പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് തുറന്നു തന്നെ പറയും മുഴുവൻ സ്പെൻഡ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് ഒരു ഇഞ്ചുറി വരുമ്പോൾ ഉണ്ടാകുന്ന അതിനെ സപ്പോർട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്ന ഒരു മെക്കാനിസം നമുക്ക് ഇൻഫാക്ട് the role and support of coach and teammates, they had evening meetings to reassure him, dinners to reassure him. Despite their hectic training schedules and competition, they came back. They had drives with him. All these are so cumulative in terms of psychologically refreshing the physical recovery has its sports injury. When you have the injury, immediately what you feel in your mind. Very recently in September 17th. And I was just, don't have real experts, incidents or occurrence of it. What to do? Should I play or should I not play? Who will assist us? It was in state championship in Thrissur. Won the first game. Second game I was leading. I got the injury. The medical assistant's doctor who was in the site, that kinesio tape and said you try. I knew I had totally ruptured the Achilles tendon. Somebody hitting at the back. I felt my shoe has been, I told no, I don't want to play. I will not play. I did not stand that feet again. Doctor, you try 1 or 2 points. See the medical support we have. Forget about me, I don't say my age. I look still younger. Young athlete who is still a prosperous possibility for the nation is being guided. You try out. The coach also, if it is an important match, he'll say, at least win this match. Maybe a painkiller or a spray. At least on phone call. Sir, this is a symptom. I had my ACL injury I was taken to AKG hospital. Told, no problem, put plaster for 6 months. Next day I called David Rajan, so-called experts. They only consider the pathological symptom. Normal and abnormal. And sports is not normal for that matter. It's beyond the normal. Rehabilitation and recovery, and even after doing the physiotherapy, when I started playing, after my ACL, able to have a confidence of putting. You need to reassure yourself. My doctor had told to put a knee brace because that gives a wrong sensation to the brain. There's something protected. He told it yesterday. I had practiced it myself. And then people ask me, why you're not wearing this? You had a surgery. I told, fine, it's okay. Concerned about it. Occurrence of injury, when the injury occurs, athlete. Uncertainty of diagnosis. What to be done now? Should I play? Should I take rest? Should I go? It's of injury. Prolonged absence. Month I had a selection. Put so much of pressure along with that. Occurrence of injury, the importance of quality medical person. Most important, accurate diagnosis and prognosis. Truthfully communicated to the athlete. It is not a secret which the doctor has to keep to himself. മറ്റു അസുഖങ്ങൾക്കൊക്കെ അങ്ങനെയാണ് നമ്മളെ റീഅഷ്യൂർ ചെയ്യും ഒരു കുഴപ്പമില്ലെന്ന് പറയും എന്നിട്ട് ബന്ധുക്കളുടെ അടുത്ത് പറയും at least not for sports person, at least not for, it has to be truthfully communicated. I should know what is my injury, what is the severity. I'll make up my mind, prepared to the rehabilitation process. If I am mistaken, I might do something wrong. Diagnosis and prognosis are delayed, athlete starts floating with negative emotion. Doctor is not able to diagnose and say exactly what happened. Try for 2-3 days, he'll start activity again. I don't know how we need to tackle that. At least a networking through the social media or telephone. We should be able to. I think all of us sitting here, any of your athletes, give a call to him. Let us make use of it. Get a first-hand information what to do, sir. That will save rehabilitation and recovery. Treatment and recovery phase can be relatively long, starting from the beginning of times of emotional ups. I'll tell you, after the surgery, the most important person, who is the most important person who can, most important person. Doctor after the surgery, my doctor after the surgery told, my work is over. That's what he told. My work is over. Rest is with the was cutting, and his approach, his confidence, his reassurance should be trained. They are not that trained, but unfortunately, we do have good physiotherapists who really can reassure us. Well, fine, it's very good. That good itself gives so much of confidence. I personally felt when I had injury and I was plastered, and many of my friends and old players came and told, don't play again. First shock they gave to me. I was already in shock after the injury. Next shock is, no way of positive reinforcement. I need to rethink whether I should play or no. But that is not the matter. Our communication is always like that. Reassuring at that point. It's very important. Forget about whether I can play or no. But that instant, it's very important that I consider myself, I'll be back. Realistically, I'll take it. Take it in the realistic way. Maybe on 2-3 months, I'll find I should not play competition. But that moment, if I say, this is the end of your career, Experience doesn't end by the clearance of the doctor. It is the physiotherapist. It all depends upon the type, severity, location. Phases of athlete's response to injury: emotional appeal and reactive, positive outlook and coping. First and foremost, when I had my Achilles tendon, loving my leg also. ഇങ്ങനെ തലോടി തിരുമി അപ്പോഴാണ് ശരിക്കും കാലിനെ സ്നേഹിക്കാൻ തുടങ്ങി. അതുവരെ we took it for granted. ഇതിങ്ങനെ ചുമന്നുകൊണ്ട് നടക്കുന്നുള്ളത്. We are not respecting and loving our body parts which are giving. That was one processing which I developed on my own, learning everything about this tendon, and then of course I had discussions with Dr. Fidi with all gathered information. Once that information reaches him, he will start analyzing to whatever knowledge he has. When he realistically understands, yes, what is done is done. We go to a doctor. If the doctor is very pleasant and communicative, മരുന്ന് കഴിക്കണ്ട, പുറത്തേക്ക് ഇറങ്ങുമ്പോൾ തന്നെ അസുഖം മാറിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഡോക്ടറെ കണ്ട് ഇറങ്ങി വരുമ്പോൾ തന്നെ 50% നമ്മൾ ഓക്കെ ആയിട്ടുണ്ട്. കാരണം ആ അപ്രോച്ചാണ്. Healing approach is important. Nothing else in the world. He is known because he is a boxer. He is known because he is if he is not a badminton player, he is zero. If he is not a boxer, he is zero. ലൈഫിലെ ഒരു ഐഡന്റിറ്റി എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ആ ഇവന്റാണ്. അത് നഷ്ടപ്പെടുമ്പോൾ ഉണ്ടാകുന്ന severity of the injury. Getting injured is a traumatic experience. What they have devoted so much time and energy, suddenly, without warning, it is taken away. Personality, your resilience, the hardiness you have in basic life. External factors, isolation, social life, worthlessness, pressures of media in terms of how you come back out of sport, intrinsic and extrinsic, the competency which you feel about your own resources, the autonomy with which you take yourself, which is a basic trait, and the relatedness, people who support you. Therapists have got wonderful protocols. I really enjoyed it. Whether it workouts or no, might have variations, but this plan is given to us, this goal is given to us. This goal setting is a motivation, and we are oriented with this goal. I keep reading. Yes, that goal setting will promote the 50 to 70,000 per day on an average. For an injured athlete, he has to be very rational. Emotional support, informational support. You need to get the information. Emotional support. Immediately after the injury, he needs emotional support alone. You don't go and say the injury is because this happened. And once the surgery is over, the emotional support can be less. The informational support should be. So there are transitions of all personal assistance of time, skills, support can vary according to the. All great athletes were very fortunate to have lovely parents. If at all we want to become good athletes, select your parents. All Olympic champions. They are such a wonderful family. Physiotherapist in terms of rehabilitation. I have positively benefited. If I had no injury, I would have been a weaker person. Your perspective of life changes. Your bouncing back attitude. You are able to face adversities. If you have not faced an injury, it always remains the relief, the optimism, the acceptance, the personal growth are very, very important. Increased knowledge of anatomy and risk factors. Once you are injured, you start learning anatomy. BP'd, MP'd, you won't learn. Injury വന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും പഠിക്കും. എന്താണ് പ്രശ്നം എന്നുള്ളത് വായിച്ചറിയാനും we have a craving to understand what happened exactly. Increased ability to understand, express and regulate emotions. It's a wonderful emotional regulation mechanism. He gets through that. He has been given. He understands he is not alone and he cannot live alone. His social outlook changes. Intimacy changes. He realizes who was the real friend, who was the real assistance. They used him. All the departments used him. Once he was injured, and the rehabilitation process takes a wonderful journey for the athlete. Are very, very essential. If real and a comeback should never. Doctors, I don't know whether they're trained for that. Physiotherapists are not trained for that. They all have to be, to a certain extent, good. Because if you are not treating the person as such, I'll just show a final clip of how